Hi guys, this is Scribbly with another pen review, and today we're going to have a look at a fairly interesting pen, which is the Aurora DuoCart. First of all, let me thank you Aurora DuoCart, the pen shop in the Netherlands, for sending me this pen for review to have a look at. I got a couple of requests to do a review of this pen. I myself was interested in this pen, so I'm really grateful that Aurora DuoCart in the Netherlands made it possible for me to actually shoot this review. Maybe a couple of words ahead. The Aurora DuoCart, as you can already see here in the vintage appearing packaging, is a remake of a vintage fountain pen that you can see here in the hands of this woman here. As you can already see, it's a hooded nib pen. Back in the days it was a little bit more rounded. The modern interpretation of this pen is a flat top pen. It's very reminiscent of the Parker 51, and indeed back then when Aurora has released this pen in the 1950s, it was sort of a response to this back then and even still nowadays groundbreaking design of the Parker 51. So that just to give you a little bit of context and history of this pen, so it is like sort of a remake of a vintage fountain pen, retro style. The packaging, we do have this pretty large packaging here, just the pen as a reference, size reference of the packaging. Vintage appearance, Archivi Storici, if I do pronounce that right, I don't know, I don't speak Italian. Aurora, from the historical archives, so to speak. Legendary pens belonging to fabulous years, the good old 50s. Back then, believe they were fabulous. This here is the black pen with a medium nib. The pen is only available in medium nibs. There's no fine, broad or whatever else available, but the pen also is available in burgundy, a red colored barrel, and then does have a gold cap. I'm more of the, some people even criticize that on my videos, that I always seem to review black and silver pens. Well, that's just the colors that I seem to like, but just for you to know, it's also available in red and gold. Price is slightly different. I discuss the price again later on a bit. The price for that version here is 140 euro, and I believe for the burgundy and gold you have to pay 160 or 165 euros even, which may be due to the gold plating of the cap, but I'm not entirely sure why that is. But that's, as a matter of fact, is the only explanation that I do have. As said, I discuss and comment on the price a bit later. We open the package, have sort of a styrofoam protective thing here. We had a bottle, I believe it's 30 milliliters probably, that should be the size, of Aurora Black, which some people say it's one of the best black inks out there. Let me comment on that for 5 seconds. I find the color mind-blowing. It's really a nice satiny shimmering black, super good, but it's not usable for lefties because it just tends to smudge. And I'm a left-hander, so that's something that I would want to pay attention for. But as said, the 140 euro, just keep in the back of your head, you get a bottle of ink. You then get this Aurora certificate of authenticity that says something back here that I don't fully understand what it actually means, but maybe you understand it, then let me know in the comments down below. You get a converter with the pen, and there was a long standard international cartridge of Aurora blue ink coming with the pen. Something that I can comment on right here. I had the cartridge in the pen, and the pen constantly leaked from the nib when I had a cartridge in. Probably the cartridge didn't really sit snug on the feed inside, on the feed nibble, so that it has drawn in air, which caused it to leak. I don't know. After a couple of pages of writing, I couldn't take it anymore. I then just took out the ink cartridge, put in the converter that comes with the pen. Was filling the pen with the Aurora black ink here, and ever since I do not have any problems anymore, so I assume it was just a particular cartridge that didn't sit probably on the pen. But I'm just telling you that because maybe if you experience problems with the pen with a cartridge, try another cartridge, or try the converter, because that solved the issue for me. And then there is this 4 leather pen box thingy coming with the pen with the Aurora logo. As far as I understand, the first batch of these Aurora pens here even received a truly 1950s original packaging that they still had left from when they made that pen here back in the days. And as they, you know, shipped the pens and didn't have enough of those vintage boxes anymore, they then just provided this black box with the pen, and that's the one that I have here, and the pen was resting in here. That's that with the packaging. Let's have a look at the pen. The pen is a super awesome design, in my opinion. I really, really love it. It's one of my favorite pen designs. Like, design-wise, it's one of the my favorite pens that I have, I would say, that I've reviewed so far. Probably, and I'll draw a line to that in a bit as well, because like it's a fairly similar design to the Lamy 2000, which is no secret. Frequent viewers of my channel know that my favorite fountain pen. And then of course it is very reminiscent of a Parker 51, that it was this Aurora DuoCart here was meant to be a design answer to. Another little info bit here, the pen is called DuoCart because back in the days it allowed to have 2 single fountain pen cartridges sitting in here in the barrel. It was one of the first cartridge fountain pens of those days. So 2 cartridges, that's why it was called DuoCart. Alright, so the pen, as said, slightly reminiscent of the Lamy 2000, very reminiscent of course, because the Lamy 2000 was designed in '66, the DuoCart in the 50s, when the Parker 51 was out there on the market. So very reminiscent of the Parker 51, a cylindrical shaped pen tapering down towards both sides evenly, same tapering on both ends, and then flat top down here and here. Let's look at the cap. It's a chrome color or silver color cap that has like some striations on here, which I find really, really beautiful. Looks the same actually on the gold capped version. We then have a highly reflective flat top cap, a beautifully shaped clip. It's a slightly shorter clip. It doesn't extend all the way down onto the barrel as you would, for instance, see that, or at least 2/3 down the barrel on a Pelikan pen, or on a Lamy pen, or on that pen here. So it's a slightly short clip, very, very springy, but does a super awesome job to keep the pen in a shirt pocket or pen pouch. I frequently carry that one here in my shirt pocket. We then have a, it's not exactly a center band because it's like on here on the clip. It's part of the cap, I mean, not clip cap, saying Aurora, made in Italy. Then we have the black barrel, kind of piano lacquer, black glossy kind of thing, but it's pretty resistant to fingerprints actually, which surprises me. What of course is not a bad thing because some people really hate fingerprints. So that one here doesn't pick up fingerprints very easily. And then at the end of the pen, you have a silver disc that is sort of reminiscent of that silver end cap kind of thing here. It looks very, very classy, of course, very vintage, reminiscent in my opinion. You can perfectly use that pen in any setting, especially in business settings, as it's quite an understated pen. Super awesome design if you ask me. Then, of course, as you've already seen, it is a pop-off cap. Does have a inner cap that you can't really see here due to the lighting conditions, but believe me, it's there. That prevents the nib from drying out. Does an excellent job in doing so. I never had a problem with picking this pen up and it wouldn't write. We have like 3 silver rings here, which sort of lock the cap in place. And there is no click or whatever. It's just you feel a little bit more resistant when the cap has to slide across these slightly wider rings, but it does lock that cap in place super tight, super snug. It doesn't even rotate, so I don't believe that there is a chance of this cap being able to come off at all. We then have like a very nice long round section, medium-sized section I would say. There is no steps down here whatsoever, so you can really find your grip wherever you would like. I think we have a nice medium-sized pen. It's not a very small pen, but it's certainly no oversized pen. It just rests comfortably in my hand like this. We have a wonderful semi-hooded nib, I would say. I wouldn't call it a fully hooded nib, because like now the Parker 51 is a fully hooded nib and you just see like that much of the tip exposed on a Parker 51, for instance. That here is semi-hooded. Let me take a Lamy 2000 to compare it. The Lamy 2000 even shows a little bit more nib than the Aurora DuoCart here, but that's the comparison for you to see. Even the section diameter is fairly comparable to the one of a Lamy 2000, but of course the Lamy 2000 is a bit thinner down here. But I think at that part here, it's a fairly comparable section diameter, so you just saw that as a comparison. Feet down here. One thing that I have to say, you see here is a little stripe that comes from the injection molding. It's very difficult to see in that light here, but I believe you can see it a little bit right here. And one thing that I found a little bit annoying with that pen in the beginning when I got it, but then, okay, I'm sort of a perfectionist, so I pay attention to all kind of weird details. That nib here was a little bit off-centered of that rounded edge here. So like, of course, that rounded edge here does have a center, which lays about here, where you now see the nib slit aligning, and the nib slit now does also align sort of with this injection molding line here. And in the beginning, when I got the pen, that whole nib thing was kind of twisted a little bit to the side like that, which made it like you imagine the nib slit was sitting, slit was sitting here, not here. So it wasn't perfectly centered, to cut a long story short, which drove me crazy. So what I did is I was just like taking the whole nib and feed and just gently but steadily pushing it towards the right angle, so that it now is centered. Yeah, and now it looks good. That was just a small comment, but of course it didn't, you know, impair the pen's writing functionality or something. The pen wrote perfectly, was just a minor aesthetic thing. The pen inside does have, I assume it's brass or something like that, like a inner tube or something like that, that adds some weight to the barrel, which is really nice. The pen has a nice decent amount of weight that makes it feel quality. And then of course we do have that converter that came with the pen sitting in here. Standard international, as said, couple of threads here that screw the barrel back in place. Fantastic. Size comparison. First of all, to my standard size reference pen, which is a Lamy Safari. And you see what I meant when I said before, it is not exactly a small pen. It's certainly no oversized pen. It's a bit shorter cap than a Lamy Safari. So it's, yeah, a medium-sized pen, I would say. Uncapped, that's what it looks like. Still slightly shorter than a Lamy Safari. Here you have a look at the section comparison in between those two. Fairly similar. I think it's fair to say that if you're okay to ride with the Lamy Safari section-wise, you should be okay with a DuoCart. I won't cap the pens because the Lamy Safari gets ridiculously long when capped. And also this pen here, I forgot to talk about that when I was holding it in hand before, and that's where I normally do cap the pens and I show the post-it kind of thing. You can post the pen, but that's what happens. And I don't even really have to give it like, you know, just a, now it holds. Yeah, you know, it falls off. So what I wanted to show you is that the pen absolutely does not post very safely. So it's really does just takes a small gentle push or, you know, while writing when you do something like that, you know, and the pen just, the cap just falls off. I don't know if that is an issue that my model here has, because of course the pen on the internet is often shown or pictured posted, and of course it lends itself to posting, and like it makes a posts fairly deep down the barrel as well, so it makes a quite kind of perfectly postable pen, has a super nice weight and balance when posted. No issue with that, just that it doesn't really post very securely. What you can do is you can press the cap really hard onto the barrel and it will then post safely. But Well, personally, I'd be worried that I maybe scratch the barrel then. If you're not worried for that, or if you're not worried that you push the back end too far into the inner cap, which then may cause that capping mechanism not to, or extend that part here too much by pushing it onto the barrel, so that then the capping mechanism wouldn't work very nice anymore, then you can probably do that. Yeah, I would just like the pen to post a wee bit more securely, but that's just me. Otherwise, the pen is said very nice size. Because the pen is very similar to a Lamy 2000, let's do a size comparison to the Lamy 2000 as well. And let's also put in another pen that many people may be familiar with, which is a Pelikan M400. That is similar in size than the 200. And I now don't post all these pens. I just make a unposted comparison. Most people do write their pens unposted, I believe. And that's what it looks like. Almost the same length than the M200/M400, a tad shorter than the Lamy 2000. Now, I said I'm going to extend my argument on the price a little bit. The pen, as seen here, costs €140. It has a steel nib. And you get a Lamy 2000 for the same price. For €130 to €160, you certainly can snag a Lamy 2000 somewhere. So it's the same price than a Lamy 2000, but the Lamy 2000 is a piston filler and it has a gold nib. So yes, the pen price-wise is on the slightly high end of what you could probably ask for this pen. That's my honest opinion. The Lamy 2000 then is priced pretty competitively. We also have to throw that onto the scale, I believe. There is rarely a pen that you can get for that money with the piston filler, with the gold nib, and with the design and, you know, like this whole, you know, design history of the Bauhaus design. Like a Lamy 2000, it's hard to find such a pen. So, well, yeah, again, the DuoCart is priced on the higher end of what you may ask for this pen. But yeah, it comes with a bottle of ink. Again, a bottle of ink is maybe €8 or something like that. You know, it's a super nice pen. It writes really, really well. And we're going to do a writing sample now. It looks super cool. So it's not outrageously expensive. I mean, you know, a Pelikan M200 will, or like the M140 that has recently been released, puts you in like, you know, similar price range or something like that. If you go purely after price, the pen is maybe slightly expensive, but if you like the design and you want a well-writing, well-designed pen, I think it's not outrageous, the price, and it's really a nice pen. Writing sample. The pen did not even dry up in the course of the review, and we've been going on with this pen uncapped for quite a while, so that is a good sign. This semi-hooded nib here writes very, very well. We go here with the Aurora DuoCart. The pen has a medium nib. And it writes on the wetter side of things, I would say. Rhodia, of course, is not a very absorbent paper, but you see, very, very smudgy, very wet, very nice. Also this Aurora black, keep in mind this here is like ivory creamish colored paper. Very, very nice black. I really do like that a lot. And well, the medium, it's actually a medium that is on the finer side of medium. This here is a Lamy Safari Fine. And I would say that Aurora DuoCart medium is actually pretty much comparable to that Lamy Safari Fine nib width. In case you were wondering about that. Otherwise, the pen writes with a tad of feedback, but just so much feedback that you know that you're writing. It's a really wonderful writing experience. So if you're not set off by this, yeah, maybe €30 that the price could be, that the pen could be a little bit more inexpensive, €100, €110 would be a perfect pricing maybe. If those 20 to 30 euro don't disturb you. I think this is a really, really good and well-designed pen. That was that with the review of the Aurora DuoCart, which has been sent to me by La Couronne du Comte in the Netherlands for review. Thanks a lot, guys, for continuously supporting Scribbly. Dear viewers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next review.